Hello everyone, this is Storm with Digital Death Force. DDF is a PC gaming clan that mostly plays Call of Duty Domination. Now this video is the first in what I hope to be a series of videos that conveys recommendations on playing Call of Duty. Over the next few minutes I will review my class setups, specialists, and score streaks for playing Domination. I'm not going to pretend that this is some miracle setup that is going to get you a 5-to-1 KD or some shit like that, but it works very well for the team and hopefully may give you some good ideas to run with. Okay, before we get into the details, I do want to give one word of advice when you are playing with a team. Know what role you want to play and stick with it. Are you going to be an attacker focused on the front lines and clearing out the enemies so your team can cap? Or are you going to stealth and sneakily flank them? Or are you going to be like me and be more of a team supporter, focused on taking out enemy score streaks and equipment and deploying your own? Whatever you choose, that is largely going to determine what setup you need. For this video, I'm going to focus on my favorite role, Team Supporter. When playing Dom, I primarily use two classes. One dedicated to capping a domination point, and the other to defending it. Both classes are geared towards destroying enemy equipment and score streaks. Let's take a look at the capture class setup. For the primary weapon, I suggest an SMG. The lightweight is going to allow you to get to the point faster and allow you to move around faster when you're actually on the point itself. The high rate of fire of an SMG is also going to allow you to quickly put down enemies that are near the capture point. Now you may be looking at this and saying, Storm, where are the attachments? Well, like I said earlier, this is not geared towards killing people. It's again a team supporter type role, and your role is not going to be killing as many people as you possibly can. So you're going to use your points to to really focus on getting the stuff that your team needs from you. Now again, with the primary weapon, again, I like SMGs, but whatever you're good with, it really does. This is really not the most important thing in this class setup. Now, for the secondary, what is really important is to have a rocket launcher. Now, for the capture class, I like to go with the XM53. Now, the reason why I go with the XM53 is because you can launch it towards both score streaks and infantry. Now, and it's the latter that I use it mostly for. So, for example, when I'm trying to capture a point, if there's other enemies that are already on it, the rocket launcher is a great way to kill multiple people or to at least damage them so then you can finish them up with whatever weapon you're using. Now the tactical is also very critical to this setup, and taking two different types of tacticals. So here I'm using the Tactician wildcard. That's going to allow me to take both a trophy system and a smoke screen. Now the trophy system is important because as you're trying to capture a point, most enemies are going to try to throw grenades, throw EMPs, whatever they've got. And having a trophy is going to buy you those precious few seconds that's going to allow you to capture that point. Same thing with the smoke. The smoke serves a related but different purpose, and that is to obscure the enemy's intelligence on where you're exactly at on a point. Because especially on very open maps, if people are standing far away, they can easily see on the point and pick you off. So the smoke is going to create that smoke screen that's going to hide you, and again, not necessarily save you at all times, but it's going to at least buy you again a few more precious seconds for you and your team to get on that flag and capture it. Now onto the perk. For perk 1, I go with Overclock. Now the reason why I prefer this one is because it's related to Seraph, who is the specialist that I prefer, and more specifically her combat focus specialty. So again, with combat focus, that's going to allow you to add to your score streak meter very quickly. So you're going to get your score streaks very, very fast. So you combine the combat focus with the overclock plus the anti-up, and between these three things you're going to be able to get your score streaks very, very quickly, and you'll have it like constantly throughout the match. I mean, you're just gonna be getting score streak after score streak, especially if you're at the lower levels, right? And if you're one of those players who prefers to have, the higher levels, again, well, this is gonna get you there faster. So that's why I have these two perks there. Another one is Cold-Blooded that I like. Again, this one is important because when enemies inevitably use some ground-based AI score streaks like the turret or the Cerberus, this will allow you to bypass them. You won't get shot by them. So if you're on the point and the enemy has these things up, you don't have to worry about it. And the other good thing too is because you're using smoke, it's going to prevent those the people who use thermal. It's going to make it a lot harder for them to pinpoint exactly where you are on the point. So again, that's why I have that one equipped. And lastly, I've got perk 3 Engineer. Again, this is also very critical to the setup because this is going to serve a lot of different purposes. So one, it's going to allow you to, of course, see exactly where the enemy equipment and score streaks are located. And that's going to do a couple of things even within that, right? So it's going to allow you to avoid getting killed very easily. It's going to allow you to stay alive longer because you know where these things are. You can avoid, take, a different approach. You can get inside a building, whatever you need to do. It's going to keep you alive longer and keep your score streak going. And more importantly, if you're calling out to your teammates, you can tell your teammates as soon as someone's coming up, and placing something down, you can say, oh yeah, there's going to be a turret on B, or there's a turret near this particular part of the map. And so not only are you keeping yourself alive more, you're keeping your teammates alive longer as well and feeding them intelligence. And so again, the other thing is you can re-roll your care packages and booby trap other care packages, which is going to tie into a little bit what I'll talk about later in terms of the score streaks. But again, I like to oftentimes get a care package as one of my score streaks. And again, the engineer class is going to allow you to re-roll it if you don't like what you get. And when you do re-roll it, it's going to get you an even better one. 9 times out of 10, in my experience anyway, where if you get a UAV, you're probably end up getting a missile strike, or if you've got a missile strike, you're probably going to get a RAPS even. I remember one match, I got like 3 RAPS in a row. It was fucking awesome. So anyway, so again, this is the capture class. Again, between all these things, it's going to allow you to capture fast because again, once that match starts, the first thing I do, I go straight to B. And when I go straight to B, I lay down the trophy, I lay down the smoke, and I'm on that flag. And if there's a particular sniper nest somewhere, like if it's a window or other area, I'm going to equip my rocket launcher to smoke them out. Or in the event that the other team also rushes, I'm going to have that rocket launcher equipped and I'll just spam those guys, and usually I'll take out 1 or 2. I might die myself, but at least I'm defending the flag. And again, by doing that, you're going to allow your teammates to then follow up behind you and clean up and then get on the flag and take it very, very quick if you haven't done it yourself already. All right, so let's talk about the next class setup, which is Defend. Now, Defend is, again, very similar setup, but with a few key differences. Now, again, because you have already captured the flag, now you're focused a little bit more on killing people, right? Because that's going to be how you defend the flag is by killing more people. But you, as a team supporter, you're still really again focused on taking out enemy score streaks, enemy equipment, and so forth. So a couple of variations here. So again, I like to go with the SMG again because I get to the point faster, and when I'm on it, I can move around faster. The attachments for the Razorback, or for any LMG, it's a crap. Right now, I haven't unlocked. I just prestiged the weapon, as you can see. But the attachments that I typically like to equip are things like grip, so you can reduce the recoil, stock, because I like to play ADS a lot, but pretty much you can't go wrong with a lot of this stuff. I think on the Razorback itself, just because I'm on this, I think long barrel is also pretty critical on it. Rapid fire is also really good for this gun as well. But anyway, I leave about 2 points for attachments. I think with 2 attachments, that's going to allow you to be pretty effective with, getting your playstyle so you can, kill enemies pretty efficiently. For the secondary, now I'm switching to the Black Soul for the secondary because again, at this point you're focused on defense. The Black Soul, of course, has 4 rockets, and you're going to be able to take out a lot more equipment. Especially this is very helpful in the mid game, right? So in the mid game where people are getting their score streaks and they're launching a ton of UAVs, counter UAVs, um, and other types of equipment, this is going to allow you to take a lot of them out. Like this is the best thing that I found for the Black Cell is just taking out enemy UAVs and counter UAVs. Because even if they have like 3 or 4 of them up at the time, again, you've got 4 rockets and you can take them all out in a very short period of time, and save your teammates some grief. Now, I do not take 2 tacticals with the defend. What I do here is I will take a lethal because one thing is when you're trying to rush back to that point, especially after you've died and you want to try to buy yourself some time, or try and scatter the enemy from capturing the point, you got to really have a lethal. And really, any of these lethals are really good. Frag is good, some Tex is good, Thermite is really good, and C4 is, I think, probably my favorite because I can, in most times, I can just run up to the point, drop it down, somewhere sneaky, get back, and blow it up whenever they're actually on the flag or on the domination point. But C4 also serves another purpose. So if you're playing a little bit away from the point, which is what I suggest when you're defending a particular point, you want to, you might want to have something that will detect an enemy that's going to come from behind. So oftentimes what I'll also use a C4 for, it's not so much to blow it up, but because it has a detection system, right? So when you have a C4, it's going to tell you C4 tripped, or I forgot what the exact word it was, but anyway, it tells you that someone has actually tripped it up. Of course, if they don't have the other perk that doesn't allow you that to happen, that doesn't trip it. But anyway, but most people don't have that perk, so it's this. So most of the time, it's really good to just place the C4 behind you. If you're worried about people sneaking up behind you, and then what that's going to do is that's going to alert you that hey, someone's behind you, and you'll be able to turn around and maneuver and give you a good chance to kill that person instead of them sneaking up and getting an easy kill. For tacticals, I highly recommend EMPs. So again, because you're focused on defense and taking out people's equipment, EMPs are just excellent for taking out especially ground-based score streaks. So again, like with the turret, it's going to take 2 EMPs to knock it out, but it's very quick. I mean, you can launch those tacticals very quickly, take out the turret in no time. And then same thing with the Guardian. I think it's 1 EMP knocks it out completely, and anything below that, it just knocks it out. Cerberuses, I think 2 will heavily damage it enough to where you can actually just follow up and kill it pretty quickly with your gun. And it also will on certain specialist score streaks like the Hive, I think it's called, where the guy shoots down those jelly donut looking fucking things that will then swarm you or whatever. It'll take those things out as well. Now for the perks, again, I won't go into too much depth because I pretty much already explained it. But again, perk 1 and perk 2 are critical to getting your score streaks really, really fast, especially when you've combine it with Seraph and her combat focus. You're just going to be getting those score streaks all the fucking time, especially if you're playing the objective. Because remember, guys, when you're destroying equipment, when you're destroying score streaks, you're getting a ton of points. And so most of the time, I'm either first or second, and my kills are like really low. And I'm constantly being asked, like, how the hell are you able to score so high when you've only killed a handful of people? Well, it's because I am focused on taking out the score streaks and equipment, and you're talking about 50 points here, 100 points there, 125 points for taking out the care package carriers. So again, that's just easy money. Now, of course, if the other team is not using that stuff, you're probably a little bit at a disadvantage when you're using this setup. But again, that's why you have a lot of different setups. You can move to another setup that's more focused on killing if you need to. But again, most of the time in domination matches, people are using equipment and score streaks a lot, and this setup really helps to uh, you know, destroy or at least negate that advantage at the very least. All right, so again, specialist Seraph, she's really good. Again, combat focus. Um, if with overclock, you're going to get it much faster, and you can activate it. And then what I recommend, especially with what I use it for, is right before I'm about to capture a point, I will activate combat focus, because that's going to do is when you capture that point, you're going to get like 300 points for that capture. And then typically when you're capturing a point, you're going to have a lot of enemies around you, and so if you're able to kill a few more enemies, you're going to get even more points. And so so just one capture with a couple of kills for defense, and you're going to get your higher level score streaks very fast. So that's why I love this thing. Um, and lastly, score streaks. Now again, everyone has their preferences. What I recommend that works well for the as a team support role is you want to have UAV, because you want your teammates to know where the enemy is as much as possible. And counter UAV. So counter UAV is very important as well, because it hides your enemy position, even if the other team has a UAV. And it makes it a lot harder for the enemy to use things like hellstorms or lightning strikes, because they won't be able to see the map very well. And I want to say I don't even think you can even place those things, because when the counter UAV's up, the map is completely blurred out. I guess maybe you still can. I think you can still launch it, but it's pointless if you can't see where you're going to shoot. And then lastly, I'm torn between, again, the care package and the guardian. So the care package I will often equip because, again, with the UAV and counter UAV, they're not lethal. But with the care package, depending on what you're getting, and because you got the engineering perk equipped, you can re-roll it to get oftentimes what are really good lethal score streaks, like a lightning strike or a talon, a wraith. I think the two highest that I see are Raps and GI unit. I've never seen a mothership come from a care package, but I have seen once in a while GI units, and a pretty good amount of time I do see Raps. And interestingly, less frequently, I don't really see a lot of power cores or haters coming from care packages. But again, that's just my experience. Guardian. So Guardian is also one of my favorites when playing Domination, because again, when you're focused on getting a bunch of score streaks really fast, you can put you can get 2 or 3 Guardians up and running very fast. And if you can get 2 or 3 Guardians up around a particular point, like the B, you're going to make your enemy's life fucking hell, because they're going to be just wondering, how the hell can I get to the point, right? Because typically on any B point, and especially on smaller maps, you only have so many entrances, right? 3 or 4 entrances, and if you can cover like 3 of them, then then yourself alone, you can have 3 things covered, or 3 paths covered, and then on the 4th path you can watch that yourself with your gun, and you got that shit locked down. So again, I go back and forth. It really depends on how I'm feeling, and so yeah. So again, those are the score streaks that I recommend. All right, guys. Well, that's about it for this video. Again, that was the first one. Hope you liked it. If you did, go ahead and click like and subscribe, and look forward to getting a lot more of these videos out there for you. All right, take care, guys. Bye.